Hi, this is BAWLER, and this is important news for you. Please subscribe to my channel. Your subscription is very important. On June 12th, Israel launched a devastating military campaign against Iran named Operation Rising Line. Within just one day, numerous high-ranking Iranian officials were eliminated, and several of Iran's most significant nuclear sites were reduced to rubble. It marked a major success for Israel and a severe setback for Iran. But what many fail to recognize is that this wasn't just a blow to Iran, it sent tremors through Russia as well. Why? Because Iran's air defense systems, the very ones meant to protect against such a strike, utterly failed. Most of these defenses are either Russian-made or based on Russian technology. Their inability to stop Israel's onslaught has raised serious alarms in Moscow, where leaders are now questioning whether their own systems would hold up under similar pressure. Before diving into why this has Russia so concerned, it's important to review what Operation Rising Line actually accomplished. Reports confirm that key Iranian military installations were hit. According to the BBC, the first explosions struck Tehran around 3:30 a.m., with subsequent blasts felt across the country. Just hours later, the Natanz nuclear facility, located 140 miles south of the capital, was engulfed in flames after a massive explosion. Israel's military confirmed responsibility, noting significant damage to the site. Although there was no rise in radiation, implying that the core components may have been spared, the effectiveness of the strike was unmistakable. Natanz wasn't alone. The Isfahan and Fordow nuclear facilities were also reportedly targeted. CNN reports that satellite imagery revealed significant impact at one of these locations. Ali Weiss from the International Crisis Group told CNN that the entire nuclear supply chain had been disrupted. However, Iran still retains the expertise and resources to rebuild it within months. He emphasized that airstrikes alone won't eliminate Iran's nuclear ambitions. But Israel has sent a clear message. If it could hit these heavily guarded sites once, it could likely do it again. These were among the most critical and protected sites in Iran, and yet their defenses failed miserably. Beyond infrastructure, Israel also struck a serious blow to Iran's leadership. According to Australia's ABC News, at least 12 top Iranian officials, including advisors to Supreme Leader Khamenei, were killed. This decapitation strategy severely weakened the Iranian regime. In addition to military targets, the BBC reports at least 78 people were killed in the operation, including civilians and children. A full breakdown of these events is available in a dedicated video. So, what does this have to do with Russia? Everything. Iran's air defenses, which failed so dramatically, are built largely on Russian technology, systems like the S-300 and S-400, touted as the best Russia has to offer. Yet when tested, they were completely ineffective against a large coordinated air assault by Israeli jets. Defense Blog reports that this failure is now shaking the confidence of Russia's military analysts. Pro-Kremlin forums are filled with commentary expressing fear that Russia would suffer the same fate if NATO ever launched a similar assault. Forbes had already noted back in August 2024 that Iran had been receiving continuous shipments of Russian radars and missile systems, including the S-300 PMU-2, the Buk, and the Tor. Iran had also expressed interest in acquiring the S-400. At the time, Forbes contributor Paul Iden warned that arming Iran with advanced Russian systems could backfire if Israel chose to retaliate. His concerns turned out to be prophetic. When Israel finally attacked, every one of those Russian systems was put to the test, and they failed. Defense Blog points out that while these systems may be adequate against drones or occasional missiles, they're utterly useless when facing a well-coordinated aerial attack. Ukraine has already exposed weaknesses in Russian air defenses using a piecemeal cost-effective approach, drones, HIMARS, and HARM missiles, but even Ukraine's campaign doesn't compare in scale to what Israel just accomplished. Operation Rising Line involved 200 Israeli aircraft targeting around 100 sites and dropping 330 munitions. Ukraine, by contrast, only has 70 fighter jets, 39 of which are combat-ready, and 178 total combat-ready aircraft. Israel's air power is far greater, and NATO's even more so. According to Statista, NATO possesses over 22,000 aircraft across 32 member nations. The US alone fields over 14,000 aircraft, many of them cutting-edge fighters like the F-35 and Eurofighter Typhoon. If Iran's Russian-built air defenses couldn't stop 200 Israeli jets, what chance would they have against a multi-nation NATO force launching thousands of coordinated strikes? That's what scares the Kremlin. Defense Blog explains that the Israeli strike showcased a multi-layered aerial strategy involving fighter jets and cruise missiles, tactics NATO could easily replicate. Despite differences in sophistication between Ukraine and Israel, both expose the same flaws in Russian-designed defense systems. In short, what failed in Iran will almost certainly fail in Russia. This is particularly troubling as NATO officials, including Germany's defense chief Carsten Breuer, believe that Russia could attack a NATO member as early as 2029. During the Shangri-La dialogue in Singapore, Breuer warned that NATO must be ready now, not later. Should Putin attempt a campaign against a smaller NATO state, he'd trigger Article 5 of the NATO Charter. An attack on one is an attack on all. That would unleash NATO's full aerial might, and if Russia's defenses resemble those of Iran, the results would be catastrophic. Worse still, Russia's current air defenses are already depleted. Ukraine has destroyed over 100 of them. For instance, just 3 days after Operation Rising Line, Ukraine eliminated a $70 million Pantsir S-1 system in occupied Zaporizhzhia using drones. Video shows the system failing to intercept the drones with both missiles and its autocannon. And that's just one example. Putin's air defense strategy is already crumbling under Ukraine's limited aerial capabilities. Imagine what NATO could do. To make matters even worse, CNN reports that Israel's Mossad operatives managed to infiltrate Iran and sabotage defenses from within using smuggled weapons. This raises further alarm in Moscow. Holly Dagres of the Washington Institute noted that Mossad has been conducting such operations in Iran for years: assassinations, sabotage, and infiltration. And the parallels to Ukraine are striking. Since the war began, Ukraine has conducted similar covert operations inside Russia, including the assassinations of high-ranking generals. In fact, Operation Rising Line mirrors Ukraine's Operation Spiderweb, which used drones to destroy a third of Russia's bomber fleet, launched from inside Russian territory. Ukraine's intelligence apparatus has proven itself capable of outmaneuvering Russian counterintelligence, and the Kremlin has been unable to stop it. This poses a terrifying scenario for Putin, that NATO operatives could do the same, clearing a path for airstrikes before Russia's systems even have a chance to respond. Defense Blog concludes that the threat of internal sabotage combined with overwhelming external firepower could leave Russia defenseless. Military experts are now openly stating that a NATO strike could destroy Russia's key military and strategic sites within hours, not days. Israel's operation proved just how ineffective Russian-made air defenses are. If Putin intends to challenge NATO in the near future, he's running out of time and tools to do so. All of this also casts doubt on the future of Russia's arms exports. Ukraine has already tarnished the reputation of Russian weapons, and Israel just confirmed it. As more countries question the reliability of Russian systems, arms buyers are vanishing. For more on this unfolding reality, watch our full analysis of how Russia's defense industry is collapsing, and be sure to subscribe to The Military Show for further coverage of Russia's strategic vulnerabilities.